If you're looking for the best Prebuilt PC under $1,000, this video is the most updated one that I've made, and you will have great Prebuilt PCs that will perform excellent for the price, and I will tell you what these PCs are capable of running in case you have no idea about PC components. I will show you 5 different PCs from $600 all the way up to $1,000, and the last one, the one that's $1,000, is the best one by far, and I will explain that later. You will have all the links to these systems down below in the video description for you to check the latest prices. That being said, let's start. With the first one and the cheapest one on the list, we have the Skytech Kronos Mini from Amazon. This one is going for just $600, so a really affordable gaming PC for the Prebuilt PC market. It's not going to be the best one. You only get the GTX 1650 and the i3-10100F. This is not a great CPU GPU combo, so I would recommend you buying this if you want a functional PC that can also game at 1080p, low to medium settings, most titles, and if you want to play esports titles like CSGO, Valorant and Fortnite, this will be a PC that can average 100 plus FPS, so it's actually not bad for the price that you're paying. Now, if you have more money, we have way better PCs on this list, but this one being the cheapest is a really solid option. But remember, if you want to play at 1080p, high settings, high FPS, you will need to spend more money on the Prebuilt PC market. One thing that I really like about this system though is the aesthetics for the price. You have a front mesh panel, so great airflow, and you have 3 RGB fans that look amazing in my opinion. Now let's move into the next one. With the next one for $100 extra, we have the HP Victus15L from Amazon once again. Here you get the GTX 1660 Super and the i3-12100 alongside 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of SSD. Here you get a way better gaming experience. The GTX 1660 Super is going to be a much better option at 1080p than the GTX 1650, and there's no game that you cannot run at 1080p 60 plus FPS on average. Of course, it's going to depend on the graphic settings. But if you want higher FPS and you're willing to pay around $100 extra, I think this one is the one to go with. The only thing that I do recommend you upgrading down the line is going to be the storage and the RAM, but don't worry about that. It's really easy to upgrade, and if you can't do it right now because of your budget, just do it down the line. With the next one, we have another Victus15L, but this time is from the Skytech website. So it's basically the same system, but you get the i5-13400, which is one of the latest processors from Intel, the 13th gen lineup, and honestly, it's also a really good content creation PC. However, once again, I recommend you upgrading the RAM and the storage down the line, and here you have the option to do it from the website just by clicking on customize and buy in case you don't want to upgrade it yourself down the line. I would recommend you at least 500 gigs of SSD and 16 gigs of RAM for the best gaming experience, but if you can't afford it, don't worry, you will have a really nice gaming experience anyway at 1080p. And in some titles, you will be able to achieve really high FPS, and I'm talking about games like GTA 5, Valorant, and these type of games. With the next one for another $100 of extra money, we have the Skytech Nebula from the Skytech website. And guys, I do recommend you buying from either the Skytech website or the HP website instead of Amazon, because you're buying directly from the customer, meaning that you will have a better customer support. However, buying from Amazon is not terrible, and if something happens to your PC, I'm sure Amazon will take care of it, but just so you know, buying directly from the manufacturer will usually give you a better customer support and a better warranty. Anyway, here we have the Nebula for $900, and we get the i3-12100F and the RTX 3050. So in terms of gaming, it's going to be slightly better than the Victus15L from the last one, and you may wondering why would you buy this one instead of the last one if it's not that much better and it's more expensive. Well, here you get much better aesthetics, better airflow, more SSD. You get 500 gigs of NVMe SSD, and you get 16 gigs of RAM, so you don't have to upgrade anything. The only thing that you can upgrade if you want is the storage, but other than that, you have a complete overall system for less than $1,000 that is ready to go for 1080p gaming, and at the end of the day, you will get better FPS than the last one. And with the number one on this video for just $1,000, I do recommend you buying this one, and I will explain why. We have another 15L, this time once again from the HP website, just like I do recommend you buying. Here you get the Ryzen 7 5700G, which is still a great 1080p processor, and you get the AMD Radeon RX 6600 XT, which is the best GPU on this list by far. It's going to outsmoke the RTX 3050, and you will be able to get really high FPS at 1080p, and you can even start playing at 1440p. It's not going to be the best 1440p experience because you can certainly get better 1440p GPUs, but for most titles, 60 plus FPS on average at 1440p will be possible depending on the graphics settings, and for 1080p you can achieve really high FPS in every single title. On top of that, you get 16 gigs of RAM, a terabyte of hard drive, and 500 gigs of SSD, so you get way more storage than any other PC that I mentioned on this list. You also get 16 gigs of RAM, so here you do not have to upgrade anything at all, just plug and play, and trust me, at 1080p you will have no regrets. Same for 1440p, because you're only spending $1,000 for a 1440p Prebuilt PC, which is rare in the market nowadays. Now, if your budget is different, maybe you have more than $1,000 or less than 600, I do recommend you clicking the top link in the description and answering a couple questions for me to help you out with your personal PC situation. And we all know PC builds are cheaper and deliver better performance. However, not everyone wants a PC build, and that's why I make these Prebuilt PC videos. However, if you're open to building a PC yourself, you will have my video about the top 3 best budget PC builds in the top right of the screen, which is my latest video. Thank you guys for watching, thank you for the support, and I will see you on the next one.